Yeah.
Thank you for your attention, please, before we start. Each month, we normally have a moment of silence or reflection. And at this point, I would like to focus on the tragedy at the Washington airport. It's just terrific to watch the news and the innocent lives, whether it's the military or the skaters and the people on it. It just absolutely tears your heart out. So if we could have a moment of reflection for everyone involved, the first responders, the family, those who lost their life, and just however you feel appropriate, focus on their needs and intervention with some peace of mind that they have some resolve to that horrific tragedy. So just a moment of silence at this time, please. Thank you. Dina, how about that?
Mike's please. Get set.
Call this monthly meeting to order. Ready? Please rise to the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Mrs. Devitt. Here. Mr. Pereira.
Here.
Mr. Suttle.
Here.
Just real quick, want to let everybody know that this meeting is being recorded for informational purposes. I'd like to ask the trustees for a motion to accept the minutes for the meetings held in January.
Make a motion to accept the minutes of the meetings held in January.
Second.
Roll call. Mr. Suttles.
Yes.
Mr. Pereira.
Yes.
Mrs. Devitt.
Yes.
I'd also like to ask the trustees for a motion to accept the payments in the month of December in the amount of $633,139.75.
139.75.
$139.75.
Can I have a question first?
Sure can.
That's like 3 times the amount. Is there
Yeah.
something that we should know?
Yeah, we made a payment to Corliss for paving $170,000, and then we had 2 $70,000 Howell systems, and then we also had a term.
Okay, so the insurance, the fire, and then the roads.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll make a motion to pay the bills for the amount of $633,139.75.
I'll second that motion as presented.
And roll call, Mr. Pereira.
Yes.
Mrs. Devitt.
Yes.
Mr. Suttles.
Yes.
And I'd like to ask the trustees for a motion to accept the financial statements that I gave to you tonight. They are for the year end. They're not for January yet, because I haven't closed January out yet.
Didn't we have those?
Well, you had it up to the middle of December. This is, because I closed out.
Okay, because I thought they were, the ones we had were from 1/6. That I have prior. So these are from 2/3, but they're not current.
These the one that I just gave you are, they are for, the ones that I gave you prior in January were for the half of December, or part of December and mostly November. These are for of the month of December.
Okay.
Because I just balanced, a couple of weeks ago, I just balanced December.
Okay.
Okay.
Good.
And I will have, as soon as I get January's, reconciliation stuff done, I'll have more statements.
I had a question, follow up on Dan's, because I just got about the mailbox. Is there anything there that
No,
jumps out?
checks that we, spent in this, well, 3 or 4 that were somewhat higher than normal. So, other than that, no, you have a more accurate year-end, totals for what carryover will be.
That's what this one.
You can see it on the fund, I think it's the fund summary. Yeah, the first page will tell you, your ending fund balances. So those should be our carryovers for the first of this year.
The unencumbered fund balance.
I'm sorry?
The unencumbered fund balance.
Yeah, yes, because we have the 215 in, POs for ARPA
Okay.
that, will come out of that, so.
Alright.
Because those are all closed out.
Yeah, that was I was wondering. So then the follow-up, you said we'll get the next set when?
Hopefully within halfway through this month, because I'd like to get the budget completed, in 5 months, so.
So we could probably expect those before the end of February?
Yes. I have to have my financials in by the end of February. So.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, we're gonna need a motion. I just wanna make sure, because I appreciate what you gave us earlier, but there was some, because I walked in and I was spending some time just kind of going over, I wanna make sure we didn't miss anything.
right,
And anything is out of the ordinary, and I obviously have full faith in our government and you.
no, it's not that much different from the last Wednesday we received, there's just,
I just want to make sure it wasn't something that we weren't aware of, that's all.
right,
And I fully, have my trust in you, so if you said there isn't, then I'm okay with that. So you need a motion to accept the financial, do we put a date as of?
I would say as of 12/31/24.
Okay, make a motion to accept the financials as of 12/31/2024.
A second?
And roll call, Mrs. Devitt?
Yes.
Mr. Suddles?
Yes.
And Mr. Ferrero? Communications, Trumbull County Engineer regarding permit to bore under and work in the right-of-way of Warner Road, Geauga Trumbull Solid Waste regarding Geauga Trumbull Solid Waste Management Plan, Trumbull County Engineer regarding copy of letter sent to Rebecca Wetman, Trumbull County Adaptive Baseball, Inc., regarding the use of Field 4, and Trumbull County Engineer regarding delivery fee increase.
That's more communications we had all last year.
Must have carried pigeon last
What
year.
happened?
Jamie, you may know the answer, this is the delivery fee increase. What's that gonna do overall for what your needs are from the county?
Nothing. They increased the fee from 25 to, I think they went up to 40. But we always haul our own stuff, so it doesn't affect us at all.
Just wanna make sure.
That's not in reference to the icing or the salt.
No, because again, we still haul our own checks.
That's all I have on that. Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you. Any public comments on agenda items only? Everybody get an agenda.
They're right next to the postcards for the app, in case you don't know where they're at.
Okay, next we're gonna do something a little different here. We're gonna have a discussion on the community center and the senior center. Invited Superintendent Gibson and Mike Wilson from Scope to come up, get a kind of brief overview of what's happening. Thought it'd be nice to share it in this setting, so. Go ahead, Joe.
Good evening, Toby Gibson, Superintendent. Thank you for having having me here and explain a little bit about what we're doing at Brookfield Local Schools. I think everybody's aware that we are in the process of finalizing the purchase of Tiffany's Banquet Center, which will be sometime at the end of April, beginning of May, to expand our career tech and STEM courses, and also provide some social services for our families. And trying to find that social service piece, came across Family and Community Services organization that provide over 80 social services in Northeast Ohio, Trumbull County, all over the place. And one of those services is Scope Senior Services. And had a great discussion with Mike Wilson and Mark Pizzano, who runs it all, the executive director. And what we are going to do right now, still tentative, nobody's signed papers or anything, is put a senior center in part of Tiffany's, which will allow services for individuals in the community. I think it's 55 and over, if I'm not mistaken. It also provides access to over 80 social services for our liaison and our administration for our families. And here tonight is Mike Wilson, who runs the Scope Senior Services portion of Family and Community Services. Correct?
Yep.
All right.
You did a great job.
Fortunate, you can do it for me. That was a great job. I gave these to everybody else. It's good to see you. Scope Senior Services, as Jamie, as Toby mentioned, as we have 6 centers in Trumbull County. I have 14 centers in 3 counties of activities serving over 10,000 senior citizens with programming and everything. I provided you some of the flyers, just a quick synopsis of what we do. Our mission statement is to provide activity centers and programs that serve the economic interest, health considerations, and social interaction needed to promote the well-being of the senior population. Pretty simple. On your second page, you can see some photos of some activities, but we have programs that go on in the centers. We break it down as recreational, fitness, instructional, and socialization. And we have some of those broken down for you with some of the things we do. Chair volleyball, depending on the ceiling, and cornhole's big with our group, indoor cornhole. We have a lot of different activities that go on with recreation. Karaoke, we have model railroading in some clubs, we have woodworking in some clubs, we have Wii sports, quilting, fitness, we have all sorts of exercise, fitness classes, dance classes. When you become the director, as I became 10 years ago, everybody invites you to do a dance. You go in, they go, come on, Mike, we're doing line dancing today. So I try to learn to do that. Come on, Mike, we're gonna be doing square dancing. We're gonna be doing this jazz dance. And the one that they did in Niles, I refused to do because I felt I was overqualified for it, was belly dancing. I said, I'm not gonna do our belly dancing class we have, because I felt I was overqualified. But it was our #1 male class that we had of all the classes. Not because our dirty old men didn't want to do the class, they wanted to watch the instructor. I know that what happened, yeah, they wanted to be attendees more than anything. So there's a lot of different things, yoga, Zumba, a lot of different activities that go on at these centers. Instructional classes, we were so excited about the kitchen area, baking, cooking classes. We get into financial classes, greeting card making. We have dementia issues that we deal with, and we're still working on that. Metaphysical issues, nutrition, painting, technology classes. A lot of seniors don't know what to do with their cell phones at Christmas time. My IT director right now, in the month of January and February, the worst 2 months of the year for him, because all the families that gave their senior citizens cell phones and laptops and computers that don't know how to turn them on, they bring the boxes in unopened saying, please help us. And that's a big program that we do. We also do a lot of fun stuff with the socialization, arts and crafts, Bible study, bingo, board games, anything you can think of that the seniors are interested, we get involved with that. On the third page, as you see, we talk about individual support. And if I could use a Star Wars vernacular, we can deal with the dark side for the elderly when families are stealing from them.
other issues. We deal with adult protective services. We help with Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security issues for the seniors that might not be able to go on the computer, because a lot of times the government entities now want you to go to computers, to turn in things and give information, you can't go to their offices. So we get involved in online support, assistance, help like that, with all those type of things. So this will give you a good outline of what we do. The nice thing about the building, we had a chance to tour it, and we also brought our president CEO, Mark Frazone. We're based in Ravenna. We're in half the counties in Ohio, a couple counties in Michigan, and we have one county in Pennsylvania. And we do a lot of different programming. Like you said, there's 70 or 80 programs now. So we can bring a lot to it. One of the things we had talked about is we now just merged with a healthcare company, a federally funded healthcare company, Access Point out of Akron, Ohio. And now what we're looking at doing is with our senior centers or our activity centers, we are looking at putting in healthcare facilities where it's one-stop shopping, where the person, whether it's no insurance, Medicaid, Medicare, or fully insured, individuals can go to get their doctor taking care of them, or their dentist, or their eye doctors. They can also have psychologists or psychologists on board, because we own Valley Counseling, if you're familiar with that company here, a nonprofit here in Trumbull County. So we can help a well range of help. Plus we have a pharmacy on site. So it's one-stop shop. Transportation was always a big concern, a big issue for the seniors, being able to get back and forth. We work with the transportation departments in Trumbull County with Mike Salamone. We also work with that, but that's something that's very important to get down back and forth. So we can do one-stop shopping for healthcare, helping them out, having a pharmacy right there. The closest to you right now would be, we have Valley Counseling located in downtown Warren and on Belmont Avenue, Liberty Township, to try to get the east side of the county. There's enough room there that we could probably put an examination room there. We also have a almost $500,000 motorhome, motor coach that travels, that could do dental, eye doctors, they could do all the regular doctors for checkups, things like that. So we felt very strong after we met, and when we met, we talked about that, that we could possibly add that to it too, so it could be a activities facility, but if the seniors or anybody needs some help with health issues in Brookfield Township, that could be made available at this location. So we're very excited about the location. We're very excited. Either we come to the township and say, we'll help do it because it's your, or the school boards, because it's your center operated by Scope. And with the years of experience that Scope's had since 1962 of operating senior citizen centers, we think we're the experts to help out. The nice thing for you is you don't have to do the writing of the grants. I do that. You don't have to worry about the HR that you would have to if it's an employee or if it was one of your employees. You don't have to worry about the back office operations, taxes, that small nonprofits, because some of the centers in Trumbull County operate with nonprofits, but then they have to worry about doing their taxes, things like that. That's all taken care of when we do that. So Bristol is expressed consideration, same with Champion, and now with this Brookfield, there's 3 possibilities of going to 9 centers in Trumbull County with the Scope model and do that. So
Are you in Hubbard?
yes, we just opened up Hubbard, yes, a year and a half ago, and it's outgrown what our expectations are already with it too. We wanted to make sure that wouldn't hurt Brookfield, but we've got people from Brookfield, Orangeville that are going to the Hubbard Center that I know of, plus people from Pennsylvania. So we find out that people will travel if they really like this yoga instructor. You know, I've got a couple that lives in Lordstown, they will go to Portland because they just love this yoga instructor. So we'll have people who will travel around and do different activities, and if we establish bingo, don't worry, they'll be traveling all over. We have been assisting your township with free groceries that we deliver through our food truck, the Scope Traveling Pantry. We take care of about 16 families in the Brookfield area with getting them all ready. We help all over the county with all of our support service programming, and then we help with those specific centers with what they're doing. So yeah, Hubbard's done very, very well with what we're doing, and then we would just have to, once we all work this out, we wouldn't have funding if we get letters of support from the township as well as the school board, then we would go after funding that would start this coming September. That's the next round, 2-year round for the senior levy, which passed. Thank you, everybody that voted for it too, and passed by 7 out of 10 votes. So part of that was it's an increase so we could have additional funds to be able to keep reaching out throughout the whole county with different senior centers or activity centers.
How does the van work that's pictured in your flyers?
I'm sorry?
The van in your picture, how does that work? Is that traveling in our community or?
We have a minibus that will do different things. That one usually goes with our parade team. We go to community parades, we call them, we are off our rockers dancers. And it's a fun one, but yeah, there he goes. We're off our rockers dance team. And we've got people all the way to 97 years of age that right now are part of the dance team that travel around. So we will go and use that for different events, but only one minibus with 6 centers. I can't always use it unless it's something special. So.
And then for Toby, when will this be operational? Like this fall, or is that too aggressive?
In my mind, yeah.
Yeah.
It never works out the way you want it. Right now, we're currently working with our architect. He was there last week, kind of putting a rough plan together. So it's early to tell.
As soon as possible.
As soon as possible.
Good question. Is there hours?
Usually they're 9 to 3 in the morning, which would work for them. But it's sometimes I have a couple centers that go from 8:30 in the morning till 8:30 at night. They have a lot of seniors, older adults. I hate calling them seniors because I get in trouble sometimes when I call them seniors, and myself one. Older adults that work still, and so they want some activities sometimes in the evening. But we'll work that out. But normally, brand new center is a 9 to 3 operation. It just depends because we'll have to hire a manager to deal with it. Then we work with volunteers. If we didn't have the volunteers, out of the 14 centers that I currently have, and we're getting ready to do another center, I have 15 employees, but I have 58 volunteers. So if we didn't have the volunteers helping out the manager when people come in and welcoming them, getting them coffee, playing games with them. I mean, our volunteers can do a wide variety of things, and they have a good time doing it. So we see a lot of widowers that are lonely, that want something to do, so they'll come in and volunteer because they want to be with other people and do things and everything. And one of our newer programs that they're doing is our dating service. And it's not speed dating, it's slow dating. But they have a great time. We've had 5 weddings in the 10 years I've been around of people who've gotten to meet each other too. So it's hard to explain what we do. It's just, I think they were taken back when we sat there for an hour and talked about all the different programs that could be done. So if you want it in your community, we want to serve the citizens. We don't care if there's only 4 or 5 that show up to come for something. A lot of them need somewhere to go and do something. So we're really happy to bring that to you.
Tim had a question.
Yeah, the transportation, do you do a wheelchair accessibility with your transportation?
Yeah, the county, Trumbull County has different transportation companies. They're available. They have one that's focused on wheelchair transport and walkers and wheelchair transport. Some of the other ones don't focus on it, but that's countywide. That's a county agency that does that. We try to work with them. We help get so the discount is done to the seniors because it's like $2 to go one way, that type of thing. And some communities have their own vans.
Right.
That Newton Falls has its own van, so we tie in with them. They do a lot of medical things. Our gal that runs our Medicare program, she knows which Medicare companies can help with transportation to the medical visits. We focus on, you're allowed to do 1 non-medical visit a week through the program, but we've been able to work it out that if they want to go to the grocery store, and the grocery store has a pharmacy in it, guess what? It's now become a medical trip, which is the nice thing. We were having problems with people saying, Mike, I can't get to bingo because I got to go to the grocery store. So we were able to, we got that worked out with transportation. So the county did a good job working with us on doing that. So.
All right, well, thank you both very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you for the
If you
time.
need to leave,
Thank
go
you.
ahead. We put you in the beginning if you know you guys had a long day. All right, up next.
Real quick, I just wanted to point out, did you hear the pronunciation of that one state?
I missed that one.
Did you? I
said
Michigan.
Okay, I don't mean to say that in front of my new friend.
Sorry, he deserves it.
Oh, thank you, guys.
I am.
Thank you. All right, police report, Chief Pacific.
Thank you. There are a couple of changes to the report. Sergeant and I are working on some other tracking, having some issues from 911 getting certain records and working them out. But our records, Joe, who Pinchot pointed out some of them that we were aware of and some that I wasn't aware of until after looking into it. But some of the numbers are off slightly from when they're reported. Sometimes if an incident occurs the month before, it isn't entered into the system until the next month, it may not show up in the right column. So I went through and double checked the best of my abilities on these ones, but I'm still waiting some records from 911 to make sure exactly on the numbers. For the month of January, your officers responded to 473 calls. They wrote 76 reports, 14 of them were crash reports, 62 incident reports. Of those, they also had 20 arrests. Of the incident reports, 4 were drug related, no firearm related, 4 theft, B&E, or burglary related, 1 assault, domestic violence, or protection order violation, 1 resisting, fleeing, or obstructing arrest, and 6 warrant arrests. Traffic citations, there were 19, 5 of them were equipment related offenses, 12 of them moving related offenses, and 2 parking violations. For calls, we had 1 reported burglary or B&E, 3 assaults or domestic disturbances, 4 criminal damaging or vandalism calls, 5 thefts, 1 identity theft, 1 reported sex crime, 6 calls for threats, menacing, or telephone harassment, 1 call for overdose, 10 disturbance or fight calls, 9 suspicious activity calls, 6 suspicious person calls, and 9 suspicious vehicle calls. We had 19 calls for traffic or parking related complaints. We assisted 21 disabled motorists, had 7 animal complaints, 28 alarm drops. Your officers patrolled 12,176 miles using 522 gallons of gasoline. We had 2 hours of reimbursable overtime and 86 hours of regular overtime, totaling 88 hours of overtime for the month.
Okay.
Thanks, Chief.
I do have 2 items here. First, I would like a resolution to increase the part-time officers' rate of pay to a maximum of $20 per hour.
Chief, just for the record, what is it now?
Currently, the top rate is $18.
There was a window before. Did you want to have that window?
Yes, yeah, the window before was $14.50 to $18.
Yes.
I'd like it to remain $14.50 up to $20.
Oh, so you're gonna maintain that lower one?
Yes.
Okay. I make a motion that we increase our part-time officers' pay rate to a maximum of $20 per hour.
I'll second the motion as presented.
And I think, real quick, Madam Chairman, that, Chief discussed this with us. As you all know, in the EMS field, in the fire field, in the police, part-time employees move from community to community. Will an extra couple dollars an hour get them here? Maybe, maybe not, but, you know, we have to, as much as we can afford, we have to be on that field to get part-time employees because they really help out a lot, filling up shifts, reducing our overtime, our burnout of our employees. So I appreciate that you brought this up, Chief.
And with that in mind, I would also.
I
That's good.
You ready? Mr. Suddles?
Yes.
Mr. Ferrera?
Yes.
Mrs. Devitt?
Yes.
Sorry about that. With With part-time, I'd like a resolution to hire, it's listed as Michael, legal name's Donald Bejo, as a part-time detective at the rate of $18 per hour with no benefits. Real quick before you make the motion, Mike has been in law enforcement for quite a while. Started Liberty in 1977, Hubbard Township in 1981 till he retired in July of 2020 as a detective sergeant. Got to work with him quite a bit. He actually taught me in the academy, firearms. He did take a reserve position with us in July of 21, and he's been a big help with a lot of the more complex types of investigations and cases we've had. He's came out and offered assistance with search warrants. Our most recent with our murder and standoff, he was right there helping out. And having him in a detective role is going to really benefit our current detective Setzer. Run into a couple times where I'm unable to assist him and kind of train him on everything. He's new to the position, and Mr. Bader's got years and years and years, way more than I have of detective experience. So having somebody like that available to step in and help out whenever it's needed, it's going to make a big impact on the department.
Very familiar face.
Thank you, sir.
We made a motion, didn't we?
No, we can. You just gotta find it. I make a motion to hire, is it Michael or Donald?
It's Donald M.
Donald M. Bejo as a part-time detective at the rate of $18 an hour with no benefits.
I'll second the motion as presented.
And roll call, Mr. Carrera?
Yes.
Mrs. Devitt?
Yes.
Mr. Suddles?
Yes, welcome aboard,
Thank
sir.
Thank you, sir. It's a pleasure.
That is all I
That's all I got. Okay. Next up is the fire report, Chief Masherbitz.
Thank you, Mrs. Evans. For the month of January, firefighters, paramedics responded to a total of 199 calls for service. Of those, 166 were EMS. There were 4 structure fires, 11 motor vehicle crashes, 13 calls for service, 2 calls for wires or trees down, 3 fire alarm investigations. Mutual aid into the township 18 times and out of the township 14 times, and totaling the 199, of those 22 were to Hartford. We had a total of 291 hours of overtime and used a total of 371.5 gallons of fuel, which is 302.8 gallons of gasoline and 68.7 gallons of diesel. The notation on my report for Station 51 is wrong. I transposed that number from last month's report, and I do not have that number available tonight.
Can you, when you?
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Yes, I just realized that I printed last month's report as well. So I copied and pasted and go in for the same. Under personnel, we received a resignation from career firefighter, paramedic Jared Bradley that will become effective February 16th. And because we received that, we posted last week that we're hiring for that position, and that will close February 11th. All air packs and ground ladders have been tested for the year, and all SCBA bottles have been sent for their 5-year hydro testing. Those are required tests that are done yearly to ensure the firefighters' equipment functions properly. And that's all I have.
Madam Chairman, I have a question.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
And this is not directed just at you, all 3 of the department heads. We discussed this before in meetings, and, we just discussed about part-time employees and the fluctuation of them going different places. I wonder if you could come up with some type of exit review when an employee leaves, like maybe set them down and see if we can, what reason did they move on? A lot of times they do that so that we can see if maybe we can improve on things. I mean, we can't always, if it's a pay issue, but like an exit interview, kind of like you have an interview when you're gonna hire somebody. If the employee is willing to.
I do sit down with employees before they leave unless they're terminated, of course, but Most employees are leaving for higher pay, more hours. A lot of departments are all part-time and don't have a 1,500-hour rule, so they're able to go there and work countless hours.
But this fellow's full-time.
This fellow's full-time, he's going to Maumee Fire Department, where they run about the same number of calls with 12 personnel on duty. And he's gonna start off at $74,000 per year and expects to be at $83,000 within 3 years.
And I appreciate that. If we can come up with some standard for him, we work together, we'll work with you too. I just think that we can learn. We might not always be able to prevent that happening. We certainly can't match a $80,000 wage for a starting firefighter, or a chief, right? Or anybody, yeah. But I think if we get that information, at least it gives us another tool to work on retention of our employees as much as we can. Thank you.
Chief, I have a question with the status of Sharon Regional. How has that affected the calls and the runs? And been more to Farrell or Warren, or what? How is that?
Well, there's obviously more to all the other hospitals, but we just had an incident the other night at Farrell Hospital, where they were told the wait time was going to be between hours for one of our residents. We ended up calling our medical director, who called the hospital, who had a patient transferred to a bed. We had to get our medical direction involved because we can't wait that long. And just so the public knows what that means is that once we come to your house and pick you up and you enter the hospital, you are considered under the care of the hospital, but until they assign a bed, we are legally obligated to keep you on our cot. We can't say, go sit in that chair unless they tell us to. So that means that if your wait time is 4 hours, then we are stuck there for 4 hours. In this situation, our medical direction made a different decision, but there are times when St. Elizabeth's is probably one of the top ones where we're there for 2.5, 3 hours. We call it wall time. I'm watching Chicago Med and some of these other EMS and hospital shows, and I never noticed it before, but they're starting to talk about wall time for EMS. And, we've been waiting here 2 hours. What are you going to do for us? There's nothing we can do. You're on the wall. And it's becoming a standard, and it's not right. It's taken our units out of service. And for today, for example, we only have 2 people on duty today. Because one is on vacation, we have 2 people. That's enough to staff an ambulance. If that ambulance is at the hospital for 3 hours, we are without coverage for 3 hours. And when you look at the surrounding departments, you look at the situation that's going in Vaughan and Vienna, they don't have anybody available to assist us. You go to the north, we cover Hartford. Berg Hill Vernon no longer has an ambulance. Orangeville never had an ambulance. Johnson is the closest one to the north besides Cortland. And then we have Hubbard and Liberty, and Hubbard and Liberty are busier than us. So if we're busy, they're busy typically. So, it's a scary thought, but it's probably not going to become unusual on busy days to see trucks like Howland and Cortland actually maybe around the center of Brookfield, just because everyone's so busy and the hospitals are overwhelmed. And we encourage people to call EMS for all types of emergencies, but the old idea that you call the EMS truck to get you into the ER so you don't have to sit in the waiting room is no longer. You're sitting on the wall on an EMS cot instead. If they don't put you in the waiting room, you're sitting on the wall for that long, and that's just taking up precious time here and time without coverage.
And I think, and that is critical, but the good thing, and there is a good thing, is we do have mutual aid.
Yes.
So although it may not be as readily available, if our squad is at the hospital tied up, we do have other avenues to get you help.
Absolutely. Thank you for.
Yeah, and like you said, you don't know what you're going to get doing that.
Right. I mean, it might be coming from Howland or across the county or somewhere, which, unfortunately, critical time.
Pretty scary.
Somebody, not breathing or choking or, having a serious medical emergency. Time is precious, so. That's all.
Thank you,
Anybody
Chief.
have any other questions?
I don't. No, we're gonna do that.
About his
Which one?
fire? Chief, you had on your,
That's from last month, eh?
oh, that is.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, that's okay.
Yeah, I accidentally printed last month.
Yep,
Make sure.
that's all
Like I
right.
said, my mistake, you
We'll squiggle it away.
can recycle those.
Okay, the road report, our supervisor, Fred.
Thank you, trustee Dennis. Road report for the month of January, we had 730 hours, regular hours worked. We had 96 overtime hours, and that was all hashing and plowing. Total 834 hours. Of that, we had 45 in administration. Road projects, we didn't have any hours. Routine road maintenance, we had 90 hours, primarily doing some pothole patching and some dirt road patching, and I think we're gonna have to hit the dirt roads with this warm weather, so usually we use gravel, and we blade it into the holes, so. I know it's not beautiful, and it's not the smoothest road in the world, but it's better than going through holes, because that's the only thing we can put on dirt roads. We had 460 hours of de-ice and plow. Of that, we used 560 tons of anti-skid, 1,885 miles traveled doing that. 560 tons is a lot. So we used that in January. I think we had, if I remember right, we had about 300 or 400 in December. So we've used quite a bit of material already this year. Looks like, if you can believe the weather going out that far, it looks like it's gonna be mild, relatively mild in February.
Have those some
Up and
storms
down.
coming through here?
Yeah.
Could be
How much material do you have left?
We've got about 500 ton in the barn. Still have an allocation of salt that's at the county, I haven't picked up yet, so I think I have about 130 ton allocated left. So.
Think should be good.
I think it'll be fine, yeah, I think, I may have to pick up some more salt, I've got some anti-skid material there, so I'll probably pick up another 50 ton of salt, just have it mixed in the barn. Equipment maintenance and repairs, we had 75 hours, tree cutting, we had 60 hours, that was, we're starting to clear the roads for paving, that's coming up in 2025, so we want to cut the trees back, so we'll be working on that as weather permits throughout the duration of the winter. Cemetery we had 35 hours. We had 1 cremation, 2 interment burials. Signs we had 4 hours. There's no truck signs. We did down. They ran over down the Majory on a couple roads down there. Shop time we had 29 hours. Miscellaneous 6 hours. We took down the Christmas decorations, and we finally got the tin soldiers out of the gazebo. They were frozen down to the concrete, so wait till we got a little fall in there.
Good time before next year.
Yeah, I think, could just help them.
We still have, so if we do get a couple days decent weather, we did get new lights for the bulbs. So we're gonna take down the globes, clean the globes and replace the lights. So sometime I'm hoping to do that this month. Road information, we had 24 hours. That was primarily down at the OTA conference, which I'll hit a little later. Safety training, we had winter operations, the park. We had 2 hours. We just had a little time down there plowing when they started the disc golf. We kind of plowed and then gave them a spot to park down there. Road department used 12.2 gallons of gasoline, 839.9 gallons of diesel. That's about double what we typically use in a month. Cemetery used 11.2, and senior van used 12.9. Code enforcement used 14.2, and that's pretty much average for them. And that's all I have on the report. If you have any questions on the report, if not, I'll move on to
No,
the agenda items.
real quick, thank you again. I
Yes.
know you touched on everything. Thanks for helping with the decorations.
Oh, yeah.
Truly appreciate it. It was cold and frozen, and guys pulled through, so thank you.
Yeah, and just, Dan caught it. I took the flags down today because they were pretty
Yeah.
tattered. And I did talk to, earlier this year, I did talk to a company about replacing the road. So I think I may do that before I put the flags
Is it
back
the
up.
one from Western Reserve?
Yes.
Okay, because the way I showed the guys when we left the meeting at the school the other day, it's the way that they did it a little bit different, so. you might have-
Good or bad or not?
Good.
Okay.
I think it's, I don't know, Dan, possibly they remote control or something, I don't know. The weight system, it's not as,
Okay.
so maybe they'll have the options.
Well, that's
Go out
good.
there and go look at it.
So that's the one at the school they did that. Okay.
Yeah,
Let's
it's
take a look
Western
at it.
Reserve, so-
Yeah, I did talk to him. He got busy, so he never got it, but he was supposed to take a look at it.
Yeah.
I think I'm just afraid that the ropes, I just don't want them to break, because then the flag will fly and,
Yeah.
you know, so. So just if you notice the flag's not there, that's why, which you did. The first item I have is, and you got the notification from the county, the county is gonna do our bids for the paving program this year, but the trustees need to do a motion to authorize it. So, I'd like to get a motion to authorize the Trumbull County engineers to advertise for bids for our 2025 paving program, which this has Ohio Public Works grant money in it. So the title that they give it is Beaumont, Campbell, Cleveland, et cetera, road improvements. That's the official title of the project. So, but the county needs a motion from the trustees in order to do that. And they're going to put out the bid in March.
Are there other roads other than Beaumont, Campbell, Cleveland?
Yes, there is, but you just give a couple of the roads.
Do you know what?
That's
they
the
are?
ATC.
You got many?
Yeah, there's Cleveland, and you got Ohio, Cleveland, Nicholas, Nellie, and Mary Ann. I think they're all, I think I got them all. You'll get it, I'll give you that.
I just, for my judgment memory.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make the resolution, if that's okay.
Sure.
I'd like to make a resolution authorizing the Trumbull County engineers to advertise for the bids for the 2025 paving project titled Beaumont, Campbell, Cleveland, et cetera, road improvements.
I'll second.
Roll call, Mrs. Devitt,
Yes.
Mr. Suddles?
Yes.
And Mr. Ferrera?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. The next item I have is just informational. We will, Tabitha, sometime this week, she said Wednesday, it's probably gonna be Wednesday, Thursday. I think we have 4 trucks and then a bunch of miscellaneous stuff will be put on gov deals for sale. So it'll be, if you want to bid on anything, it'll be available, I think probably by the end of this week.
We're gonna do
Yeah,
the
we're
chairs.
the chairs, that's what I was gonna say, we're gonna, anything kind of around the township, if any other departments have things, please let us know prior to us posting them or her posting them. We'll have a bunch of chairs and, like banquet kind of chairs and a lot of stuff, so. If you have things, let's do it this week.
Jimmy, where will the proceeds go?
Well, all the stuff that we sell goes back in the road department. I don't know what, Dina puts it in a fund somewhere, and doesn't tell me.
We talked about using that specifically for a truck.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Your mark for it.
It'll mark for a truck, yes.
Make sure, you know.
Clean it up, Steve.
I don't have that kind of horsepower, you guys.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Yeah, yes, it is gonna be your mark for the truck, thanks, Mike. The last item,
Cursor.
yes, I guess I put it in my case. Yeah, I just want to review, Mark and I went to the OTA conference, last week. I attended several classes, so, we did the indigent burial I went to, and just so you know, I did forget about it. So I got an update in the policies, so I plan on within the next couple of months finalizing that policy and presenting it to the board for approval.
Do you have the old one? Because I have a copy of it.
Yeah, I have the old one, and then they have another model they put out, but it's got some changes, because there has been some changes as you know now, they do allow $1,000, I think it starts in April, April 5th for indigent burials.
They had an old program that they abandoned and they started up again.
Yes.
Part of your policy, I think we should have that as part of a separate meeting or maybe a department head, is there is a part of that we can recoup some of that if a family member comes afterwards to claim the remains.
Yes.
I think as trustees, we need to discuss whether we want to do that or not. It can be a controversial thing, but what's happening a lot more, and you know this more than I do, by talking to Ash Buell or whatever, indigent burials, which, how many have you done in the last 10 years? 3? They're becoming more common. And what's happening in a lot of times, and we have a couple nursing homes in Brookfield, is a patient will come to the nursing home and will spend a good amount of time there. And of course, the nursing home is being compensated from whatever funds are there. But when the person passes, all of a sudden there's no money. So the township were designated by law to nobody claims, and it's an indigent person, that we have a policy that we bury, pay for cremation or whatever of that individual. Then afterwards, maybe a family member shows up and says, "No, we'd like the remains." Where were you when, because indigent burials for if there was no money in immediate family or the person. So some folks, not all, are taking advantage of this system and for whatever reason, having the townships pay for the cremation and interment of their deceased loved one. So.
And I did discuss, or I asked, because we had questions about how long you in the nursing home, you consider a resident. And they said there's no time frame. But you could go back and look at the residency, like if they own a house, if they're getting mail somewhere else, that defines residency. But if not, then they could be in a nursing home for a month, and that's the.
When I spoke with the prosecutor, that's one of the questions we asked, because if you remember, Dan Bryson was here before we discussed this in the past, is that there used to be some unwritten rule, it had to be 6 months, and the prosecutors said they could find that nowhere in the ORC, which 9:15 of the ORC.
And then the other item, which you and I talked to the funeral director up in Cleveland, we kind of had an unwritten rule that, if we did the cremation and the family showed up and wanted the cremains, as long as they reimbursed us for the cost of the cremation, they could take the cremains. So we found out
Can't hold a house.
we can't do that.
Can we have that in the policy?
I don't know, we'll have to go through we'll discuss that with the prosecutor, but, so that's one of the classes I attended down there. I did some, like a speed limit class, there's ways that and this is more for the residents, if you have, sometimes I know we had one on, and then we had one on Amy Boyle that they kind of wanted to adjust the speed limit, so the township has the ability to do that. There's some things they have to go through to do that. The state, ultimately the director of transportation is the one that sets the speed limits, but there's a process for going through that. So if you have that come up, there are things we can do there. I did some, which I hope to do this year. The guy kind of was going over how to clean some of the stone. The right way to clean stones, you don't use chlorine. The old limestones that deteriorate them, so it turns me off. So he kind of gave us some ideas on how to do the cleaning and placing. So I'd like to do some of those in the old section this year. It's kind of my plan. It always seems like we run out of time. So there was a lot of good classes. I think that they always, some of them are repeats you've seen before, but there's always some that are new and that you get some updated information. And I think we got a shirt that you mark.
I can't divulge any information.
Yeah.
Jamie, I always, and Dave went last year also, and Aaron, hopefully sometime in the near future, you have an opportunity to go there. I appreciate you taking the time out to I mean, you're taking 1/4 of your crew away, and I know you're really conscientious about that, so I appreciate you going down, because you do get every year out of it, so, that's a good thing, I appreciate it.
That's all I have under the road items. Miscellaneous item, the tire drop off this year is going to be, if we have enough money, we'll have two, but I'm just gonna give the first one out. It's May 3rd, which is always a Saturday. So it's first Saturday in May 3rd from 8 to noon. So if you've got,
When it gets
Tires.
closer, we'll talk about it.
yeah, we'll remind every time.
Because we're gonna just, Brookfield residents,
Yes,
limited tires.
We're gonna put up our banner.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was really effective last year.
Nothing else gets into it.
Yeah, I think that was good.
Yeah, and then just to piggyback on that, Dan, have you talked to Hubbard at all about those tires over there? I'm still.
I touched base with trustee Coletta at one of the meetings, but not as a total. I think it's the other trustee, Tedro, that is taking that on. So I told them, gave them our pitch that we could put them somewhere in Hubbard, we help get them there. Because you oppose that?
Yeah, I told them we could use a thumb and pinch them. It works, it's a lot cleaner and we can load them if they got somewhere, and all they do is call the EPA.
Yeah, so we just have to have a location. It has to be over 100 tires, has to be a location that the EPA can come and get that. So, yeah, we'll remind you, we'll work on it.
Okay. That's all I have for my report. Thank you.
Real quick, you need to call me to go over for the park and cemetery advertisements. If there's anything.
Oh, okay.
And then we had said a couple months ago that at the end of the paving program, that we were all gonna sit down and talk about the roads. We wanted to redo the list so that the residents can kind of see where our status is.
And we can put it on our website.
Yeah, I wanna, update it, like kind of here's
Sure,
the old
yeah.
plan and here's where we're at. I don't know time-wise, maybe we could get. it-
Well, we know what we're doing this year, so sometime this year we need to do that. Plus, we need to sit down and look at some of our maintenance stuff. We need to
Yeah.
do.
Did we get the report from that guy?
Yes, so I have to
Okay.
present that.
When we have a special meeting.
Yeah, I was
for
gonna
that.
say,
Yeah, we need
at
to
some
do- we need
point,
to set
yeah,
a
at some
separate
point,
meeting.
shoot, like in the next month or two or something, because you're gonna get busy.
Yeah, and I think as far as the seasonal employees, I think the two that I had last year are gonna be available this year, so if that's the case.
It's good.
I need, I'm assuming we're gonna have a budget meeting sometime.
Yes.
Because I gotta look at cemetery budget and see what kind of money's there for wages, because,
Did you want me to not post it, if you're gonna just hire?
yeah, can we wait? Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
You have something.
I didn't put that on the parking at the park.
No, that's me.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So do you want to go to the park? I put it under the park. Do you have anything on the park, Jim?
I do not.
Okay. We've had this discussion as trustees, even prior to you guys, a couple of times, and it's only happened at the park, but a couple of times we've had groups come in and hold an event there, and they solicited individuals coming into the park for parking and donations. As a trustee, I took some exception to that. They say they're just asking for donations, but I think we should try to, and I have a resolution, I kind of roughly wrote it up in my terms, and if you guys want to tweak it, it's fine, if it's, might be an overreach, but I'd like to present a resolution that we prohibit any organization or person from soliciting or seeking donations at any township facility to include the Brookfield Community Park. Now, that's not just for parking, but I think it's appropriate that some individuals would be going into the park to walk their dog or to just go to the park, and especially if they are elderly, it's a donation. They felt compelled to give money, and to come into our community park, I don't think anyone should. I think whoever's doing that's taking advantage of our facility to get information, to get money for the group. So I don't know if that's too much of a reach to solicit any of our. I just thought that if you included everything, we're not singling out the park. The park is the thing that's driving this. They have tournaments there, and they charge monies for those tournaments. the way I would look at it is if you needed an extra $5, raise the tournament fee $5. But I kind of rubs me the wrong way that people, I've gone in there as a trustee, I go in the parking lot and, young people soliciting the donations, they don't know who I am. They ask me for money. I just don't think it's right.
So I've been at events on like the Green, the Suicide Box, they have donations right there. So how do we do?
Good point.
Yeah.
We separate.
And it's not like you know what I mean? So I'm thinking, I'm totally comfortable with like parking. I don't want to drive into the park, but maybe we make them stay up to like the concession stand area or like not just, I don't know. I just thought of that immediately because.
So park is primarily offender.
Well, yeah, I mean, because you're not, the Green, we have events.
But that's the same thing as if somebody has an event at our hall and they ask for parking. I'm not saying they would, but this would stop them.
Yeah.
We could organization a person from soliciting or seeking donations for parking and any of our township facilities to include.
Do you want to start there?
Yeah, I think we should specifically say parking.
All right.
Now, how are we gonna communicate that to people? In the rental form?
Yes, they know in the rental form and our baseball leagues and football leagues know in the park that that's a standing resolution from the board of trustees.
I like that at least there first.
Yeah,
That kind of.
I think we
yeah, 'cause the
specifically
other
say
things
parking, and that's a good way to start.
All right, so could I word that and then?
Huh?
Oh, I thought you might have.
No, it's okay.
Okay, I would like to make a resolution that Brookfield Township prohibits any organization or person from soliciting or seeking donations at any township facility to include the Brookfield Community Park.
One second.
Can I have a copy of that?
Yeah, you have to doctor it up now. It's not exactly, I'll just put park in here, yeah, but yeah, I'll get that to you. Any other questions?
No, but I think that's a good.
We had discussed this with the, when we had.
Had issues, yeah, we've had issues.
We've had issues, and I even had an individual that decided not to have a tournament in our park because somebody other than us had said they wanted to cut the parking, which blows my mind. Okay.
All right. Roll call, Mr. Suddles,
Yes.
Mr. Pereira.
Yes.
And Mrs. Stebbins.
Yes. Okay. Who would like to read the code this way?
I'll do it. I'll summarize it. Code update for February 3rd. We have a permit for Brookfield Avenue, the Trumbull Metropolitan Housing Authority is doing some remodeling. And Mays Auto has a canopy on Brookfield Avenue as well. They're doing some demolition to it. We had a violation or complaints on First Street, trash and debris. And the owner's been contacted. We're on the 7,000 block of South Street, furniture throughout the yard. Diamond Street, home is in need of roof repair, may be turned over to the health department for condemnation. North State Line Road, open dumping taking place, the health department is assisting. 3rd Street, inoperable or wrecked vehicles. 600 block of James Street, again, open dumping. Albright McKay Road, abandoned refrigerator yard has been removed. 1100 block of Broadway, rubbish and debris on premises. And construction of a new gas station at 900 Urban Avenue. The Trumbull Soil and Water is monitoring the water runoff issues. And notice of complaint has been sent to the owner, no movement on this project lately. That's the end of features.
Do the van report.
Jim, I have a copy for you, I'll get it to you.
Okay. The senior van report, money collected $27. Total miles driven 98. Volunteer hours donated, yes, 6.5. Pinch up 1, crew hack 3.5 for a total of 11 hours. Thank you all for volunteering. Okay, we don't have any old business. New business. We're gonna start with the introduction of the My Brookfield app to trustee service.
Camera, please. All right, I've been talking about this for 3 months, and I apologize, but we're working with a company that's helped develop this, and sometimes you have to work at their speed. But they've been very good, but Brookfield Township isn't the only community that they have an app for. So, anyway, everyone pick up the postcard that was there, over there. There's one, you can pick it up before you leave. Brookfield Township has their own app. What does that mean? It's called My Brookfield. You can get it at the App Store, Google Play, and the Apple Store. Or you can take your phone on this little QR thing, and with your camera, and go on it, and it'll download it. So, pretty cool. So, Highland Township is a community close to us that have this. Hubbard has something similar, Hubbard City.
It's more of a
Big city.
word system.
But what does this do? Well, I have one on my phone right now, as all the trustees and the fiscal officer, I know that. And we've been able to download it prior, which you could have. So a lot of things it does is it gives a lot of information. We'll start with that. The first thing is notifications, and that's the biggie, but we're gonna say that for the end. If you push on it, it takes you to the township departments, and they're listed: police, fire, EMS, road, and code enforcement. And if you click on there, it takes you to that department, similar to what's on our website. But if you go down, there's a sign up for a weather alert. We talked about this weather alert that everyone, it's on our website already, but you can be part of WINS, I think it's called, and you can sign up from the app. It shows you how to do that. It takes you to our Brookfield Township website. There's a first energy report for Power Street light outage. You can also still call me because I think that's better, to be honest with you. But this, if you want to do it yourself, this takes you to the OE site, and you can do that. I've had some problems with it, but it's okay. We'll work on that. There's a direct link to Brookfield local schools. There's one to the Brookfield Library, right at the bottom, but only because you're the last one I had.
Phones were there.
So it takes you right there. The neat thing that I like, one of them is phone listings. And I can add to this, we can add to this, but right now, for instance, Brookfield Library is there. If you push on that number on the app, it will dial the number for you. So it's just a little thing, but it's one less step that you have to use if you want to. And I list township administration, police, tip line, fire, road, property maintenance, Trumbull 911, non-emergency. A lot of people ask what that number is. You're going to the 911 center, but it's not on the emergency lines. Brookfield local schools, the library, the post office, the Main Street post office, Trumbull County Water and Sewer, and Ohio Edison. Now the neat thing, and the main thing that I like about it, it's a notification app. And it does it can do that in a couple ways. But first of all, this money, it costs the township about $4,200 a year for this app. We use 2 years, we pay 2 years with ARPA funds. So I am now a trustee cheerleader because not that they're both in, but I was the one that proposed this. So just like various things, I want it to work. We all want it to work, but I'm going to push it everywhere we go because in the end of 2 years, if we have 16 people, which we already have more than that, but signed up, it's not doing what we want it to do, and we're not obligated anymore. But the notification part, for instance, tonight I did a notification after Tabitha set up the agenda. Brookfield Township Trustees February meeting, it lists the agenda on the meeting, what tonight's meeting is going to be. So you could look at that before you come here. But we can do it obvious. I did a career firefighter, paramedic that we're hiring. Put that out. Extreme cold, we had a couple of those. Weather advisory, if we have a boil alert for water, if we have a police emergency like we had, where Lucy Street in that case, to avoid it, we can put that out. But if you don't have it, it doesn't matter how many times we put out the information. So we need to get this to as many people as possible. We have the postcards. We're going to send out 1,000 flyers in the school to take home for kids to take it home so they have an idea, the parents. But we're going to have postcards in different places. We're going to push it on our website. You can, if you get on the app, it'll ask you if you want to register. And when you register, you can pick how you want to be notified. If you don't want to be notified, it's okay. You don't have to be notified at that. But let's say you want to be notified for all types of things that when I sent out my announcement for the meeting today at 3:00, it buzzed my phone and it come across as an announcement on the phone. So if you have your notification set up that way, anytime we send an alert out, anytime your phone is on, you will get it. Now, you can also receive it as a text message on your phone. You're asked on the app if you want to provide that information. And if you do, you can get various ways. It does not cost you anything. Part of the app allows us, I think, 1,000 different messages in a year's period. That's not 1,000 people, but we send 1,000 messages out on a text message. It's part of the cost. Directly to the townships, that immediately goes out on the township's Facebook page. We're going to the police, fire, road, even code enforcement, that some forms can be accessed through the app. And if they have any need for it, the fire chief, all three department heads will have the ability to do the notification. It doesn't have to just be myself or Tabitha or Shannon, because she's also one of the administrators. But this is a neat tool to keep you all involved in the township. And one of the things that is big for me is to involve as many people in Brookfield Township as we can, and what's going on. We've done a lot of things with different the Christmas programs, the touch a truck thing, the things that are going on in the library. We're pushing that out to the community. We have more avenues to let people know what we're doing and where we're doing. And then those critical emergency things, I've heard a lot of people say, I don't know when the township meeting is, or I don't know what's going on in the township. I have people saying something about, why didn't they ask us before they paved the roads? We did all that, but evidently we didn't have a tool to reach everybody, and we're not going to reach everybody. But the more tools you have, the better it is to get people involved. And I don't know, one thing, and I don't know for accuracy whether it's true or not, but I think I forget what the ages were. It might have been from 18 to 65. 85% of the people have a phone. Now, it might not necessarily be a smartphone, because people they still do sell flip phones.
Yeah.
But if you have a phone and it doesn't cost you anything, and a senior person or somebody just not into their phone other than more than answering it, I'd be willing to walk anyone through loading the app. It's really easy. The QR code is cool because that's all you gotta do is take a picture of it, and you're there. Mark had a little bit of problem. He didn't know. You have to know your password for your app. He didn't know it. But we worked on it. It was in his notes. But anything that you two want to add? I just think it's a great tool, and it's branded for Brookfield Township. It's not Trumbull County. It's Brookfield Township.
Yes, I guess the question is, how do we get it out to our residents? We're doing the school, and any ideas you might have.
Go to the library.
Can I bring some postcards there?
I was gonna grab some here.
I was gonna say,
You grab some, or I have some more at home.
Okay.
Yeah, you can take what's left.
Okay.
And yeah.
In addition to Joe, what about News on the Green? That's
Yeah,
another
we
avenue.
could put, well, he did a story already about it.
News on the Green and the review.
Yeah, well, sometimes I have a little revolving ad.
Yeah.
I'm gonna trust the ad. I'm throw that on there.
Facebook.
Facebook, police have a Facebook page,
Is
fire
it
has
on
a
the
Facebook
sign?
page. Pardon
Is
me?
it on the sign?
No, we could probably flash it up.
We could flash it up here.
Yeah, it's already it's on the website already. You did Facebook, correct?
Yes. Yeah, but any ideas of how we can get out? I mean, this fellow that talked about that's gonna happen down the road, the senior center.
Put these out at the concession stand.
Yeah, that's one reason we wanted to do postcards. We did have a benefactor that donated the cost, but that's not gonna be ongoing, but it's minimal cost for those. And we'll get the word out. This is a way to get it out in a compact form. And these folks that have this, it's called GoGov. They're pretty good at it. They give us different ideas. But we're gonna expand this app, the more than I read to you, a couple things that are on it. We're gonna expand it and get some more information on it. I think that's critical, but not nearly as critical as the citizen notification aspect of it. I believe that's huge, and if we can get that out there, just for things that are emergencies and things that aren't. And I'm kind of a app guy. I have several apps and I get notifications daily. Not a lot of people do that, but it's good to have. You have it in your pocket and all of a sudden go, oh, I forgot there was a Brookfield meeting tonight. And maybe, this, be quite honest with you, it's off subject a little bit. This is the best number of people we've had in a meeting in a long time. And it's cold, it's winter, and I understand, well, it's warm tonight, but,
Well, they're not here.
yeah, but, we have them on YouTube, so maybe that's why. We look at that and see how many people are viewing, YouTube, but we gotta get the word out, and this is just another tool doing that. I appreciate you, if you have any questions, yes, ma'am.
Did you say you have a flyer as well?
A flyer, yeah, do we have it?
Yeah, no, I mean,
If you want to email it,
Yeah,
print it out.
because I have a one up Thursday, it's just 8 by 11, I think that would be nice just to have there, you can walk over and scan it.
we have 2 half sheets for the kids, and then quarter sheets for the postcards, so.
Email them.
I will email that to you before I leave here.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Thanks, I'm amped up about it. I'm done.
All right, real quick, before we get to the last one, there was something that we discussed at our department head meeting that we did not put on the agenda today, right, my bad, but we had discussed adding 5 more holidays to our approved holiday list for part-time and seasonal workers. Are you guys okay to move?
Yes, and the explanation is probably a year or two ago.
2019.
We talked about part-time employees and keeping this isn't full-time, I already did it. Part-time employees, what can we push to get more to come here? We opened up about 6 holidays that don't get paid time and a half as our full-time employees do to come. So we just want to expand it to all the 11 or 12 holidays that all the full-time employees get.
Good, Chief.
For the purpose of the motion, the trustees approved the fire department to have those original 7, I think it was, holidays, not all part-time employees. So
Wasn't it part-time in police too, Aaron? Okay, so.
So the previous,
I don't believe so. I believe the original motion was for fire department.
No, I'm pretty sure it's both, but we can,
I think
we'll
Yeah,
expand it,
double
we'll just expand it on this one.
I just wanted you to realize that it didn't, the first one didn't encompass all of the part-time employees.
so New Year's,
This one's
Memorial,
intended
4th,
to-
Labor Day, Thanksgiving, Christmas Day, and New Year's Eve was the 2019 ones. Now it'd be Martin Luther King.
Well, I think, why don't we do the resolution that they get all the holidays that are full-time
There you go.
employees? Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we provide paid holidays to all part-time employees and seasonal employees to mirror the full-time employees' holidays.
No second.
I think it's 12 now, 15,
So
or
7, 12. If you want the list, I have the chiefs.
12, they have Juneteenth. That was 12. Was that what you said?
12.
12. Well,
Because,
she hasn't listed.
because of
The
New Year's
original.
Day or,
Oh, New Year's Day, New Year's Eve.
New Year's Day and New Year's Eve was on the 2019 approved list.
Yes, that was,
The
that was
discussion
the one that
dates.
we approved for the fire department that was in addition to the holidays because New Year's Eve is such a busy time for us. So we approved paying.
Well, if we approve it now, it's only gonna be effect police and fire, right? You're off. All the part-time road employees are off then.
Unless there's
That's
snow.
correct. Yeah, but are we talking, is that the list of holidays that the full-time get to?
Yeah.
Well,
I don't think they get New Year's Eve.
yeah,
Yeah, they get New Year's Day, they get one.
That's what he was
so
saying.
there should be 11 holidays.
So the New Year's Eve make it 12.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it.
that's-
You wouldn't get that.
So that's five.
Oh, God, if you're giving it to them, then you.
No, Good try, Jim. We'll just do 11.
Okay.
Do 11.
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I have.
It's got to mirror that. That's the way we're gonna work.
Okay, who seconded?
I did.
And roll call. Let's see where I'm at here.
We don't mind.
Mr. Carrera,
Yes.
Mrs. Devitt,
Yes.
and Mr. Suddles.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm actually trying to. All right, now you make my vote next. I just want to give you
Okay.
a breather here.
We got a notification, within the township circle that there's some, and it's happened very quickly. There's, some discussion with the Trumbull County sanitary engineer. He's proposed a Trumbull County Water District rate increase. And by what I understand, it was from $6 to $12 per thousand. It's gonna go up 50%, and then possibly before year's end, up another 50%. So, several townships, I think Vienna, Bezetta, and a few others, have created a resolution to oppose this to be presented to the Trumbull County Commissioners. We have a meeting this week. So I would like to propose a resolution to oppose the Trumbull County Water District rate increase as it directly affects Brookfield Township residents. Whereas the Trumbull County sanitary engineer has proposed Trumbull County Water District rate increase that will directly affect the residents of Brookfield Township. Now therefore be it resolved, the Brookfield Township Board of Trustees oppose any Trumbull County water rate increase. Make that motion.
Yeah, before we vote, a little discussion. My concern is, as Dan kind of alluded to, this is kind of like, oh, by the way, here it is, without giving any feedback, like what's it for? Are the new lines running? You know,
Yeah.
no communications at all, and that bothers me. You know, legitimize what you're asking for, just don't say the rate's coming. So that's my biggest complaint. You know, everything's going up. We realize that we may be need for it, but tell us. Just don't impose it. And I hope they get that message. I know there's gonna be some people attending that work session. And, you know, we need to know what it's about. You know, it may be legitimate, but tell us. Just don't say, here it is, pay it, and be done with it. So that's my complaint. You know, so thank you for bringing that up.
And of course, I don't know what the breakover is. You have aqua water where you live. So I don't know where the split over is. I think the majority of the West Hill is in aqua.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it does affect a good percentage of Brookfield. Anytime you're gonna raise anyone's rates without any input from them, I'm leery of that. So this is our way of saying, we don't think it's a good idea. They might do it anyway. But maybe if 6, 7 different trustees, townships stand up at the county commissioners meeting and say, hey, why?
Explain to it, yeah.
So that's what this for.
Okay,
Okay, hold on.
okay, ready?
Yes.
Roll call, Mrs. Devitt.
Yes.
And Mr. Carrera.
Yes,
And Mr. Suddles.
Yes.
She did that just.
she did.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion that we discuss, that we table the next discussion.
Yes. Okay, now we're at the fun part of the evening, public comments. Does anybody have anything? Just random? Yes, sir.
Jamie, put it on your list, make sure you take care of that ramp, so nobody parks their vehicle in front of the ramp,
At the park,
at the park.
the base of the ramp.
For the handicap parking,
We
It's
haven't
marked, it's marked.
well, they can't read. You need posts, you need some posts right in the ground, so they can, you know, the wheelchairs and
We can't
auxiliary.
put posts there because then that is.
Yeah, I don't think I can put something right in front of the ramp. I mean, they got a sign.
But they can't read, come on.
Yeah.
We need something, we need something
Maybe,
to.
I don't know. We have that issue, looking down to the beach.
you know what we-
legal department.
I know where to find you, Aaron.
We know a bunch of tow trucks.
It's a handicap. That's not till,
June.
June.
June, July.
Yeah, but you know,
Yeah.
the low leaders will be up there, and so.
Okay. My turn. Why not post this at the park?
We can,
Yeah, we could do like something laminated maybe something.
Yeah.
up on
Post
that
at the
board,
park. Yeah, exactly.
certainly.
Right.
There's
Exactly.
many places we can put it.
Right, and you might want to consider reaching out to the churches in the area and see if they'd be willing to take a stack of postcards.
Good point. Appreciate it. I'll make a note, because I'll forget.
Recycle bins empty, what day of the week, do you know?
You mean at the,
Yeah,
Yeah.
the ones at the fire station.
it's more than one day. It's Monday, is it Wednesday, and I think Friday.
What they have now, I think they have it in place, is they monitor the level of the stuff's in there, the dumpsters, they can monitor it. And then, so it's not might be a specific day. You know, if they get banged 2 days in a row, they might come.
There's a lot of conversations on Facebook about, well, when do they empty these?
You know what I generally do, is I check on Mondays and usually Tuesdays is good, after the weekends, they get jammed. So
Yeah,
I never take recycling on Monday, I usually go Tuesday or Wednesday, and
right,
And the worst part is a holiday. If you have a holiday in there, that's when they usually get cleaned up. But they
Yeah.
try to do, the goal was try to do like Friday and Monday, because like you said, the weekends, no one's emptying them, so.
Right.
They did put, they had cameras inside them to watch the level, so they could adjust the days if they wanted to adjust.
And they're also monitoring to make sure that, I don't know what they do because of it, they're seeing that people not throwing trash in there too, so they're
Right.
monitoring that too.
right.
I don't know if there's some type of, how they determine who that is, and, or maybe they're just trying to see if it is a specific problem, and then monitor it more.
Just wondered. Okay, anybody else? Yes, sir.
Hey, on that one on First Street, now there's a motorhome there now.
Yeah, there's
I saw
another.
Pete knows, we went there the other day.
Them two cars been there for almost 2 years now.
Mhm.
No plates, not moving.
And the backyard's never cut.
Yeah.
But we're trying to get the trash, we talked to the attorney that owns it. You're right, I checked the plates, the one car's, the tag is 2020, so
They've been there for
it's
years.
5
You're
years.
in there, you're gonna say the same
So,
thing.
yeah, we're gonna push that even harder. I
Is
was
there-
gonna talk to you about it, because I didn't know if you saw the other side.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
oh,
yeah.
yeah, we see the
Is
back.
there a way that you guys, the prosecutor, put an ordinance on for these junk vehicles in people's yards and not running?
Well, it is addressed in our property maintenance code, and there's an ORC thing that addresses it also, right, Aaron?
Yes, the ORC is a lot more specific, and there's a lot more standards than the property maintenance. Property maintenance is usually the easier way to go, but it has to fit a whole lot of criteria in order to be considered a junk motor vehicle for the ORC.
I don't see it for 3 years now. 4 years, so not moving, you know, I consider that junk.
Well, and I know that Pete, periodically will see if he can get an officer that's free and, goes with him, because that part of it, the ORC has to go through a police officer.
Correct.
Code officer, so. But they do work together. I know Pete will say, I'm waiting for, it's either Officer Bishop or whoever it was to help him through the
Yeah, I
process.
mean, you want it, like Gary Lee said, take pride in your town, Brookfield Township.
Yeah.
You know, there's, you know, you want people to move in the area, and they see, oh, that junkyard there, you know, junkyard there.
I agree.
You know, houses can, you know, fall apart.
Okay.
That's what-
Yeah, railroad crossing on Amy Boyle, who do we contact? Is it the county or the railroad crossing? Because it's starting to get to the point where it's deteriorating. You go over it and you're body them out on the cars.
I mean, that's ours, but the railroad's obviously in charge of that, so we have to contact the railroad.
Do you have a contact for that?
I do, I haven't talked to the railroad in a while, but I can.
You give them a call.
It's bad enough that I can see the good possibility of damage to vehicles. He can always tell online.
Yeah, you may come in here.
Is it the wood that's there,
I
or
don't
is it
know if
actually
it's
the
wood
wood?
or if it's
The asphalt.
Yes, the asphalt's starting to get.
It's a little of both, yeah.
Yeah.
Call them soon.
Three of us aren't anymore.
I know when she's coming home and I talk to her on the phone because I can hear her call.
So you're almost home.
Yeah, I know.
If you go over like 70.
My foot is not that
Yeah, I-
I look across that.
Do you?
And it still knocks my dentures away.
I've had my pickup truck, the rear end come out, you know, 'cause it's
So did you get that?
near.
Need a picture.
I don't know, if it's county problems, railroad problems.
No, it's
Township.
well, the railroad's supposed to maintain, they have a right of way there, and they're supposed to maintain that right of way.
Okay.
So, and I don't know that particular area, if it's 20 feet on each side, or, but usually usually they try to combine it with an improvement, so if you're doing the road, then they'll get involved in it, but. I can
Now
call
that
them
you guys
back.
fixed that dump, that it's much more noticeable that we had this other one too. so.
Yeah.
Anybody else? All right, now on the trustees. I have none.
Well,
Go ahead.
I want to bring up, we took a little break, although not as much this year, for our talk with the trustee. We have great library, head librarian, man, branch manager, that's so willing to let us use a place other than our township building, which that's what these meetings are designed to do, reach out in our community. So the 22nd of February at 10 o'clock until noon, we will have our next talk with the trustee. If nothing else, it's a plus. We get the library, we're gonna have coffee and donuts. So nothing else, you have that. It might be still a cold winter morning, come by and it's a real informal situation where you can just sit and talk to us if you got a concern. You don't feel like being on YouTube. Come talk to us. That's what we're there for. I think I said it.
I will be real short. Well, Jamie's, I also attended the OTA conference in Columbus. A little trivia. How many townships are there in the state of Ohio? No, township. 1,183. And 1,182 are members. There's one township that isn't a member of the Ohio Township Association. They always kind of tease about that. I attend a lot of workshops there, from grant writing to collective bargaining to road maintenance. There's a laundry list, and they give you handouts, and there's a lot to digest afterwards. So I'll be giving you some updates over the next couple of months on things I've attended. A lot of them are audio or videotapes, so you can go back and watch them afterwards. So OTA is a valuable resource, not only for the conference, but throughout the year. If you have legal questions or guidance, they're the go-to agency. So it's a lot to give time, but it's always informative, and they're good workshops. They're good presenters, and the networking with people is as important afterwards. So well worth the trip and the time.
They have a big vendors hall at any convention happen. Usually by the third day, you see them close a little early when Mr. Ferrer comes down.
That's right.
He's looking for something. Oh, here he comes again. Sorry, we're closed.
My grandkids like to eat us. That's all I have.
Is everybody good? Okay, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
I'll say.
Thank you, everyone.
See you
Yeah, we're done.
Yeah.
Hi.
I had